Perfect. This is a new platform for both of us at least. So appreciate you all joining. And yeah, so what is it? Is it time? Perfect, it is time. So I want to just say hello to everyone and thank you for joining us today for Toastique's Consultant Catch-Up webinar. My name is Marissa Goodman and I'm the Development Director for Toastique. I'm thrilled to introduce you to a very special person, Brianna Keefe. She is the founder of Toastique. We've had an incredible year at Toastique so far, and we're really eager, if I could speak, to share some of the major highlights, updates, and exciting plans for the year ahead. So this is really informal, so I don't know how this platform works, but if you're able to ask a question at any time, please do so, or we'll save some time at the end to answer any questions as well. So Brianna, the energy around us is really electric, and you and the team have been working so hard. And so let's just start off by saying, talking about the growth this year. Like how many stores have opened? We did just hit a huge milestone. What is the pipeline for the rest of the year? And you did say, I think October is going to be really busy. So why don't you kind of touch on all that?
Yes. So hi everyone. I'm Brianna Keefe from Toastique. And we are having a very big year, like Marissa mentioned. I'm actually in Georgia right now, opening our 15th store of the year in Marietta, Georgia, which will be store number 51. 2 weeks ago, we hit store 50, which was super, super exciting. And it was in our backyard. It was in Virginia, which was kind of special too. So we had a busy year so far, but we actually have 11 more to go by the end of the year. We're all kind of trying to squeeze in the openings before the holidays. So we still got our work cut out for us, but we'll open around 26 stores this year, which will be a pretty big increase from last year, opening 17. So yeah, we're super excited. We're entering really great new markets, but also expanding into current markets. This year we started out with 3 California stores and we are ending up with 8 by the end of the year. We still have 3 more to go. So that's been really amazing. We've gone into brand new markets like El Paso and a suburb of Pittsburgh, suburb of Philly. So like really different, and they've all been really successful. So it's just exciting to continue to expand all over the nation.
Perfect. Thanks. Oh, and also just for all of you on here, there is a chat and Q&A at the top. I just saw that. So if at any point in time you do have a question, just type those in there and we will get to those. So thanks for sharing that, Brianna. We talk about our growth and how many stores are opening. What do you believe are the key differentiators really that are attracting so many new franchisees and allowing us to expand so quickly?
Yeah, I feel like there's a few. I think one, the natural attraction is just our aesthetic that translates directly to the experience when franchisees do get to go visit in a store. Everything is warm and inviting and live plants and real wood, and it's a very, very communal feel, very welcoming feel. And then when you pair that with our super fresh offerings, making our juices in-house, all the toppings of our toast in-house, sourcing local produce, everything just wraps it all together. And you can really see and feel the value of everything you're getting and the freshness. But I also think it really encaptures everything. We have an amazing coffee program. We have the juice bar concept with cold pressed juice, smoothies, and bowls. No added sugar in any of them. But then, of course, our gourmet toast as well, which is our specialty, which makes up majority of our sales. And so there's something for everyone, whether they want something quick, a juice, a coffee, or substantial food. And I think that's really the beauty of it too, is that there is something for everyone. No matter how large of a group you walk in with, there's something that everyone will prefer and enjoy. And so that just makes it very appealing that we're not putting ourselves in a little box that's only, more of a niche for everyone.
Absolutely. And that's what really resonates with people. And what, and this is, ideal. Like, Toastique has a certain vision and a certain partner that we want to, that we're looking for. What qualities do you look for in a franchisee that kind of align with the Toastique vision?
Yeah, I would say the number one thing is really the passion about the product, the brand, our story, our mission, and people who genuinely want to be a part of it. I think that's the only way we're going to be sustainable for many years to come, is people who are truly excited about the brand. We want partners that believe in the brand like us and also want to expand in their community. We don't want someone that thinks it'll be fun, is in it for a few years, and then gets bored or burn out and want to move on to the next thing. We genuinely want people who want to be part of the movement. And that goes a long way. You know, it's of course a lot of work owning your own business, but if you're passionate about it and it truly excites you, then it doesn't feel like work anymore. And it's very rewarding. And you really get to be a part of the community and educate everyone on our products and the brand, and really just genuinely love everything about it.
Yeah, and I think it's really important also to touch on a little bit, it's in franchising as a whole, that the word semi-absent. We don't really love it because, for a successful business, you're going to want to be hands-on. Can you talk about how important that is and what we're looking for as far as like hands-on commitment from our franchisees from the beginning?
Yes, that's something that's super, super important to us as a brand. We do realize people are not doing this to create themselves a job and be in the one store every day for the rest of their lives, but it is so important to be there in the beginning, at least for the first 6 months to a year, really building the team. That's truly the number one thing. We are giving you everything else. We have all the resources for it, but at the end of the day, we can't physically be in your store to build your team and manage the team. And that's so important, because if you have a great team, they're going to take care of the customers. They're going to still be reliable and show up to work and perform even when you're not in the store. And that definitely takes time, especially in the restaurant industry. So having that presence there, really making sure that the team is trained, but motivated and truly appreciated, and they will take care of you. And really getting to know the customers as well. That's so, so important. And that is, no matter how big we grow, we're always going to feel like a small company, because everyone's going to know the owner of their local Toastique, which is super, super important. At the end of the day, people want to support someone they know. They want to support a person, which is, and we know that firsthand. So being in there, someone who really wants to be the face of the store out in the community. And then that way, when they do slowly start to step back and look for store number 2 and furthermore 3 and 4, the foundation is laid. The store number 1, you have a great team involved where now you can start working on the business instead of being in the day-to-day. But in the beginning, it is so important to be hands-on.
Absolutely. We do have a couple questions that came in. I'll just get to them as we go. How long from contract signing to open are you seeing?
Yeah, so on average, it's around 11 to 13 months. We have seen it go up to 2 years when we're waiting for a building to be built. It has gone as short as 6 months, but on average, it's around 12 months. Just the main 2 things are real estate selection, which is the most important, but can be the most frustrating, because sometimes the landlord will take a few weeks just to get back to us. And then also permitting, like in DC, it's a minimum of 90 days. It can get dragged out for a few months, but we have seen it much shorter where it only takes a week or 2.
For franchise consultants also, like on here and others as well, but a key component for any brand that, that they're going to show their clients is the level of support from the franchisor. Can you kind of walk us through the journey from a new new franchisee to the moment they sign to the grand opening and thereafter?
Yeah. So I would say our support is very hands-on. Everything about our company is very hands-on. Everyone's very passionate about it. So as soon as signing the FDD, we have a kickoff meeting with our senior project manager, who has what we call steps to success. And it's every little detail that you need to complete after signing up until grand opening. And she takes you through that. Something really exciting that just happened this month is we brought in construction project management in-house, which has already been so great, because now he is very hands-on. He'll fly 3 times out to the site to make sure everything's perfect. So that, we were already working with him prior. We actually poached him to come full time. And so we're really excited about that addition. So that's another layer that folds into it. And then around 90 days out, the rest of the team gets involved, the marketing team, our training team, scheduling all of that, really ensuring every step of the way is covered. But of course, post-opening is just as important, if not even more. So we immediately start weekly calls after with our director of field manager, and she takes you through everything. And having those weekly calls, there's going to be so many little things that come up. So always having those and really honing into, scheduling, inventory, any little hiccups that come along the way. And then moving to monthly calls will be with our vice president of franchise operations, where she'll now host those calls at more higher level business, fine-tuning operations, really just kind of holistically helping and seeing where the business is, where we need to improve. And when we are ready for location number 2, honing in on there and then getting back connected with our senior project management to kind of restart that process.
Perfect. Another question that came in here is space required. How big is the space, number of staff required, store hours?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we really like to stay around 1,400 square feet, say no less than 1,200 square feet. We do have some stores that are a little bit bigger, around 2,200 square feet, but we truly haven't seen, bigger store correlate to more sales. So we like to have, a smaller environment, more intimate, more personal. Our hours operation always starts 7 a.m. till 5 p.m. There is an opportunity to extend. We do have a lot of stores that are 7 to 7, but we always like to start 7 to 5 because it's a nice 10-hour shift. It's technically kind of one shift staggering. Once you extend those extra 2 hours, you kind of need a whole nother set of employees to split the day off. And as staffing goes, we always, when you're opening your very first store, say to at least hire 12 to 18 people, just knowing the nature of the business. Some people are not going to show up on the first day. Some people are not going to show up on their second week, or you'll have to let someone go. But once people really get settled in and trained and really having a good team involved, it depends on full-time to part-time ratio of employees, but you could have between 6 and 8, I would say, is on average once everyone's trained and, you're not having as much turnover.
Perfect. And then another question in here, it says, what are the top stores doing in revenue? How is validation?
Yes. So our top stores, as maybe you guys saw on our FTD, we kind of have a wide range. Our top stores are doing $1 million and over. I think something that's been really exciting this year with the 14, about to be 15 that we open, is all of them are on track to do way over our AUV. And I think that's just a testament of, the learning from as we go of choosing A+ locations, being super particular with our partners and our operators, and also our marketing. I think our marketing side has really grown since we started franchising. So a combination of all of those, we are having a very, very strong year with all the openings so far.
Awesome. And validation too. Validation's great, right? Because I know myself, I set up personally one-on-one validation calls all the time, but talk a little bit about validation.
Yeah. Validation's super important, and it's going well for us. I mean, we're trying to find brand ambassadors in our partnerships. Like I mentioned earlier, it's so important. So, also because we're looking for owner operator, it kind of takes them a few months to be able to step back and focus and take a call. But it is something that's really important to us. And I think it's exciting really getting partners in different markets as well and different time in the system. We're now having a lot of people to kind of pull from, because some people want to talk to someone who newly opened or has been in the system for 2 years or is on the West Coast or in a very suburban market versus a more urban market. So hopefully that answered that.
Okay. No, it did. Absolutely. So I know in one of our meetings a couple weeks ago, you were talking about like how great that these grand openings are and what those numbers are. Can you kind of talk about the numbers that you've seen, or like how great these grand openings are? I think was it Newton Square, PA? Because I think that was the place, right? Yeah, kind of talk about that, because that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, we had some of our biggest openings this year. Actually, our number one opening, Hoboken, held the record in 2023, but Orange Village, Ohio beat it out this year. But also besides that, Newtown Square, Pennsylvania, which is a suburb of Philly, was one of our biggest. Our goal is always $10,000 for the weekend, but our top ones were doing over 13. And it's really exciting to see Newtown Square, for example, grand opening Saturday is always huge. And typically it's one of the busiest days for the first year. But what has been really interesting is Saturday we had an amazing day, and then Sunday was even busier. And the next weekend we did the same volume. And so you really can see going in these new markets is people love the promotion. They get excited about it. People are happy to stand in line, but there's also a chunk of people who purposely kind of want to avoid that. So, getting brand awareness out and really, even if they're not coming on the first day, they're coming the next day or the next weekend, and their sales have been increasingly, continuing to go up, which has been amazing. We opened in Mount Lebanon in Pittsburgh, a suburb, again, right outside Pittsburgh. And something that has never happened before is they were actually busier the second weekend than the first weekend. They did 13,000 weekend, they did 14,000 the next weekend, which is incredible. And I think that's also just a testament to consistency, brand awareness, organically people getting word out, going, and then coming back and bringing their friends and their family and whoever.
Yeah, absolutely. We do have a few questions in here, and I think, it's always great to address, like when people think of, franchising, just right off the bat, I think most people's heads go to QSR restaurants. But what's one of the most attractive things about Toastique is the equipment that's needed. So can you kind of talk about like grease traps, fryers, grills, things like that?
Yeah. So what's really great about Toastique is that we don't need any of that. We don't have any cooking equipment. Sometimes, depending on the jurisdiction, we do need some grease traps, just because they consider the milk from our espresso fatty and greasy. But no hoods, no oven, fryers, anything like that. So it really lends ourselves going into really great spaces where venting might not be available because we don't need it. Even though we're making everything in-house, it's all just freshly chopped or mixed. We obviously have a great juicer, we have a food processor, we have a cheese melter that we melt cheese in, but also we can roast small amounts of things in there. But it is really great because there's not a lot of overhead. It gives us more opportunity in select real estate options, and it's a lot easier just to operate. You don't need to hire a cook or chef or anyone that knows how to operate it. You can hire anyone and teach them anything.
Love it. What are the top markets that you're looking to develop in? Is the focus multi-unit right off the bat, or is there opportunity for single units?
Yeah, there's opportunity for both. Even for people who do buy a multi-unit, we do actually put a restriction on how fast they can go from store one to store two, just because we are in the details about everything, quality about everything, and we totally understand first impressions are everything. So if you try to move to store two too quick when store one's really not solidified and really as perfect as it can get, it makes it very challenging. But the biggest benefit with multi-units is the franchisee becomes so much more efficient. They can now share resources, people, have a commissary in one store and deliver juices to the other. So obviously the goal, even for people who do buy a single unit, their goal is still to grow more. That's just kind of their choice to buy one versus three. But I mean, ideally in a perfect world, having people, like I mentioned before, that want to grow with us, that obviously makes the Toastiques in their community more proven and more solid, more brand synergy. But at the same time, too, it's helping them become more efficient in their operations.
There we go. I almost had myself muted. Perfect. Another came in here, investment item 7. The investment range is a little over 370,000 to a little over 846. And really the biggest differentiator in the investment is going to be the construction and leasehold, and really boils down to where your client is in the country, how big the location is, how much they get in tenant improvement allowance from the landlord, and really if it's a cold dark shell or a second gen space. Can you kind of talk about that portion of it, of what goes into it for construction?
Yeah, definitely. That's really where the biggest thing is the pre-existing space. We have been very fortunate a few times to take over old juice bars where it's very, very minimal. Pretty much the back of house stays the same, and we're just putting our finishes on the front, which is always on the lower end, but of course a cold dark shell when there's no plumbing, HVAC, anything. The benefit is you get to design it from scratch exactly how you want. But of course, it's way more costly. And also depending on the square footage, like Marissa said, which is why we've really tried to keep it smaller, especially for the first one. You know, the name of the game for the first one is recoup your investment as fast as possible. So you have those funds to go on to store number 2. And that's where you can go a little bit bigger, and that's where you can have your commissary. But store number 1, we really like to keep it in our sweet spot. To really cut costs on store 1 so that those profits can funnel into store 2.
Sure. What are the average hours required to manage a location? So can you kind of talk about what the owner operator, operations looks like and the hands-on?
Yeah, in the beginning, 60 or 70 hours a week, just training your team, being there. There's going to be hiccups with any new business. There's going to be little hiccups while you're training, but being there to acknowledge it and make it right before the customer leaves. But we do realize it's a lot to learn. Nothing's difficult. It's just a lot to learn. So something new that we started in 2024 is we required at least two people to come for the full corporate training, which is 4 weeks, and it can be split up 2 weeks and 2 weeks, 3 weeks and 1 week. But having that second person there has been able to ramp up the opening process so much quicker, so much smoother. You can really divide and conquer to set of hands and eyes on training and inventory and things like that. So that can easily be shortened when you have that second partner involved. And we do encourage more. If you have a third person that's going to be full-time in the store, the more the merrier, that everyone comes and learns everything. It's going to make that time commitment just shorter and not dragged out as long.
Absolutely. Do you still offer the option of serving alcohol beverages?
We do. Yeah, it's not mandatory. We probably have maybe 10 or less stores. Some have a full liquor license, some have a beer and wine license, but it's totally optional because sometimes, like I know New Jersey and Pennsylvania, it's almost impossible, or it's like $100,000 to get it. It's just not worth it. But when it's, cheaper and it's kind of like a bonus, it does great, but the brand works perfectly fine without it.
Perfect. So looking ahead, what is your vision for Toastique for the next, 3 to 5 years? Are there new product lines? Can you maybe talk about our partnerships with like the goals for coffee and maybe for marketing, and what else are you going to, like add on in additions to the menu that you think are going to be incredible in the future?
Yeah, for the next 3 to 5 years, it's crazy. We actually just had our 7-year anniversary from our first store in July, which I don't know how it was that long. I feel like it was just yesterday, but really in the next 3 to 5 years, it's always staying true to our values and holding brand integrity, finding great partners, great locations, and then on top of that, incorporating amazing programs. So our coffee program we finalized last year with amazing partners, continuing to push that. Because our first 4 stores actually didn't have espresso. So that's something a little bit newer that we just started adding in 2021. But now all of our stores have it, and it's such a big part of our brand. So continuing to push that. And also we just partnered with a marketing agency this year, which we're super, super excited about. They're young and hungry like us, and they're kind of like the one-stop shop for pre-opening, doing all the marketing behind the scenes and analyzing all the data as well, the grand opening promotion, and then they're going to be the partners post-opening as well for any further digital media, advertising, anything that you need. And we're really, really excited about that. And I think it's just continuing to listen to our franchisees, listen to the customers. We always have seasonal menus with new items. And so really just gaining feedback and data. You know, we can hear the customers, we can hear the franchisees, and then we just have the straight data that shows us what's really, really selling and what's not. So that also helps us kind of give insight on what our customers really like. So just continuing to listen and grow and give the people what they want without losing what our core values are.
Love it. That's really all the questions that I have and that came through, and really appreciate that. So stay tuned. We are going to be doing pretty soon here another webinar that's going to feature more of the executive team. You'll see a tour of the Toastique location and many, many other things. So stay tuned for that. And I really appreciate, it says there's, another question came in. Registration states, California, Virginia, Illinois, we're registered in all states except for North Dakota and Hawaii. So all of them came through. And that's all we have that came through on here. But if there are any questions outside of this, please don't hesitate to reach out. You all know me, phone number, email, all that. So I really appreciate you all joining today. And thank you, Brianna. And yeah, reach out with any questions, and we'll see you soon on our next webinar.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Marissa.
Thank you.